He got 4 heart valves.
Okay.
And one of mine's still leaking, but it's not leaking enough to be any concern. But the older you get, the older your organs get. And so the older your organ get, the less they kind of like work at optimization. Yeah, I almost got stuck in a snowstorm, so I basically came in there, blitzed the food really fast, and like, I'm out, fellas. And and lo and behold, I did get stuck in the snowstorm, so I was in the middle of the highway for like, I don't know, hours.
Oh, geez.
Almost ran out of gas because we like couldn't where we were, all the gas stations closed at 9. Cottage country,
Yeah,
so like we
yeah.
had no gas, and then we stopped, and police passed us, and they didn't help, and some random dude, a pickup truck, had some gasoline in the back, and he was extremely kind and hooked us up. And then we still had like literally we were 2.5 hours from Toronto, but it took us a day to get back because of that much snow. It was like you can't drive on those roads without lights, and it was snow that got that thick in like an hour. So
Jeez.
it was wild.
Well, Joe Friday.
Yes.
Chef Joe Friday. Welcome to the Gents Talk Pod.
Welcome, chef.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
You a cowboy?
I am a cowboy at heart. My retirement plan got a lot of cowboy in it.
Nice.
And, it's more of a statement to wear a cowboy hat. But I have a lot of cowboys in the family.
Yeah.
So it's not like too far away, so I have some pretty like hardcore cowboys in the family. So
What else is in the retirement plan?
down south of the border,
Whereabouts?
North Carolina.
That's where you're born.
Yeah, kind of back there, and not necessarily retirement, but like more stabilization of life. Far as just being in a place where closer to family, and you can start a family, you feel comfortable. I think it's important to, like, if you want to start a family, to start in a place that you feel comfortable for your family to be. So yeah, definitely.
Is it? What's the cost of living in North Carolina?
It's pretty decent. Charlotte, perhaps, is probably the fastest growing city in America, or one of the top 2 or 3. And their cost of living is really decent right now.
Okay.
So, you can get in now, you can get a really nice house. Like $1 million will get you way more than you can get in Toronto. I'm talking 4 bedrooms, 2 acres of land, a little pond, like something
You don't
nice.
want the little square room here in downtown?
Oh my God.
Overlooking the other condos?
Way too much.
It's ridiculous. I'm blessed. I have a really, really nice place. So I'm pretty blessed on that front. Yeah.
So how does a guy who was born in North Carolina, raised in Japan, end up becoming a chef in Toronto?
Oh man, that's a great question. I lived in Japan. I was there from the age of 3 to 13, right? So.
Are you fluent?
No, very little now.
Okay.
So very little. For a while, when I moved back as a teenager, for like 5 years I was, and then I started meeting less and less Japanese people in my hometown, and it's just like, you kind of gotta practice it.
Yeah.
I have some Japanese friends here that I talk to, but traveling a lot as a kid. I've been to the Philippines, Japan, Alaska, pretty much all the Southeast Asian countries plus Alaska because of military bases. My father was in the military, and so that was really cool. And then when I graduated culinary school, when I graduated high school, I went to culinary school, and then that led me to Disney World. And in Disney World, I met, like, Disney World's like a dorm, like where I was at, right? So it was like a bunch of students called Vista Way, and this bunch of international students that live there from around the world, Italy, and just name it. So there's a representation of a bunch of students from different countries. And so I got to live there, got to meet people at different countries that I wanted to eventually visit. So then I traveled more, like Norway, Italy. So it's just a travel bug. And then I ended up, at some point in my career, I ended up in Hawaii, and that's when the Canadian journey started. I was in Hawaii, and it was really cool. I left Hawaii to come to Canada, but I was in Hawaii. It was pretty cool, And
let's leave the warm climate for cold.
Exactly. I met someone, and I was, curious of the country, and I think that was the time when Susuli was on. I think he just won Iron Chef or something like that.
Okay.
And as a chef, and wanted to work at the best with the best, I was like, whoa, maybe there's an opportunity in Canada. Maybe because before no one thought Canada, 10 years ago, no one thought of Canada as a place where good food is. I mean, now there's Michelin, so yeah, but no one really thought at all 10 years, maybe even 4 years ago. And so I kind of I decided to come, and I ended up working at Canoe.
Yeah.
Worked at Luma. I opened up Luma restaurant with Jason Bangerter. Worked with Patrick Chris. He's a chef of Aloe. And Bangerter is the chef of Langland Hall. Those are two of the top 10 restaurants in Canada. So, that journey started, and I kind of got stuck here, so.
The snow.
Yeah, definitely.
I used to work at Oliver and Bonacini's.
Okay,
way back in the day. The one at Bayview Village.
Okay, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's really nice. Auberge de Prunier.
No, Auberge was was on York Mills.
Oh, that's right, York.
Yeah, that was the French one.
Okay.
Yeah, but that one was a dope one.
That one's crazy.
That was great. Yeah. They did our orientation there.
Yeah.
So imagine your first week at working at this restaurant, and your orientation is not in a room; it's at a French fine dining restaurant.
Yeah.
So it was a really good introduction.
That's wild. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But the hospitality industry is hard, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's not easy.
It is.
It's a lot of long hours. And we've had on a few chefs who've talked about that too. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, I think I've had a different experience from everyone. Not everyone, but some people. Yes, it is a lot of long hours, a lot of standing up, paying attention. It's very kind of like a military. It depends on where you are. I think I really had the luxury of working at where it's a really nice, amazing chefs at Walt Disney World at the beginning of my career. And that was less of the yelling. And it was long hours, but it's Disney. It's not that long. They really can't overwork you. I think the longest I worked was 20 hours straight. So check this out, though.
It's not long, but the longest I worked was 20 hours.
Yeah, so check this out. The average was 8 hours, and you never really worked over 8 unless you wanted to. 20 hours is because there was a hurricane. And so it was what do you want to do? You want to kind of keep working? Because once you hit 8 hours, you get hour time and a half. And then once you hit time, 8 hours more, you get double time. Yeah. And so I'm sitting here okay. And then a buddy of mine told me last hurricane I made $8,000. I was like, what? So I just kind of stuck with it. It's just I'm not sleeping, so I just kept working. And
damn.
But that was by choice, right? So
I hope you weren't cooking any chicken.
No, no chicken.
So walk us through this process. You said your dad's in the military.
Yeah.
Did you find it challenging going from place to place to place at such a young age?
No, I loved it.
Why?
I don't know. I just think if I was back in 200 years ago, I'd probably be one of those explorers, even further than 200 years ago. I'd probably be on a sailboat exploring the world. I really just love seeing different places. All my life I've had new friends, and I've been able to adapt to new people and new surroundings. And I think the military life really helped with that. I could just you could drop me somewhere and I'll be okay, So I think there's a lot of people that probably deal with certain issues with that. There's some professional athletes like Robert de Griffin III. He went to the same middle school as I went to, and that was in Japan. So there's a lot of professional athletes that had military fathers or parents and did the travel thing. But I loved it actually. What
about the concept of having a military father?
It was great. I mean, it was, I come from a community, I come from a community, a black community in North Carolina. I just posted on my social media today. By the time I was 19 years old, I had 4 people pull a gun to me. So, being a military father kind of kept me away from hanging out with those people that pulled a gun on me, right? So I think if I didn't have my military father, it probably been a different path for me, because it's just the people around you, you kind of adapt to that surrounding. Unless you're a major athlete or you got something going on, the community doesn't really protect you. It's you're going to go do something and be great somewhere. They want you to kind of represent the community. So they, drug dealers don't let you hang out with the drug dealers. Right? If you're that special kid. And I wasn't necessarily a special kid. I was just a kid. So my dad instilled a lot of I guess, a lot of foundational tools that I use to stay out of those crowds and making bad choices.
Did he not want you to? Because military is usually like it's family too. Like your dad's military, your uncle's military. Is that you? They didn't try to get you into military?
Yeah. So this is a great question. I wanted to join the military 9/11.
Okay.
It was my first year at Walt Disney World, and I was like, that happened, and I'm like, geez, this is horrible, man. And I just remember my dad told me there was a time in his life where he decided to join the military, and he joined the Vietnam time, right? Mm-hmm. And it was just like, that decision was a family decision, but also a country decision, to call the duty. I don't think everyone has that in their soul or in their heart to want to like jump and be called for duty. But I had it. So, and I was very adamant of joining. I couldn't join because I was born with a heart defect. Mm. And so, I mean, I've been very athletic my whole life. Very high level baseball player, wrestler in high school. I could have went really high in the college world, but I didn't do it not because of the heart condition. The heart condition wasn't something to slow me down from that, but military physicals that slowed me down, right? Mm-hmm. So
military physical. Well,
you have to take a physical to get in the military,
and that's harder than playing like high level.
I could have made the military and been fine, but there's a liability thing there.
Oh, so they wouldn't knowingly take you on type of thing. What do you mind do you mind my asking what exactly is the heart condition?
There was a couple things, I was born. I'm the only person in my family with a heart condition. A hole in my heart and a regular heartbeat. I was born with a condition called rheumatic heart fever, and that leads to tons of other heart issues like the hole in the heart, irregular heartbeat, enlarged heart, and a leaking valve. So I had all those growing up. 3 of them I grew out of. I'm still kind of. There's still symptoms, there's still issues, but I've been pretty healthy my whole life. Pretty athletic, travel, do crazy hikes, And
it doesn't stop you from doing it.
No, I don't take any medication for it, So, but it's always a concern, and you gotta keep up with it, check up yearly, make sure you're good, So I was told at certain ages I'll probably have to get a replacement for a heart valve or something like that. But I lived a pretty beautiful life. So
a replacement valve.
Yeah. You got 4 heart valves.
Okay.
And one of mine's still leaking, but it's not leaking enough to be any concern. But the older you get, the older your organs get, and so the older your organ get, the less they kind of like work at optimization. So.
Does that like linger in the back of your mind that at some point you gotta?
Of course, I've been. I don't want to say that, but I've been. My life has been one of those interesting lives. First and foremost, I'm extremely blessed just to be here in front of you, gentlemen. But I thought about death a lot because it's like I grew up in a hospital. So from the time I was 18, every month I was in the hospital getting a penicillin shot. They were kind of wanting me, make sure I didn't get any other outside diseases that would affect my heart. So I had to get this long, like 4-inch needle in my butt every month until I turned 18, and then they felt my heart was strong enough to kind of like go on and do things, right? So I've never had it in the back of my mind, but I always knew that I just feel like I'm special. I'm different a bit. Mm-hmm. I was born into this not because of anything of neglect from my family or like past history, or there's a thing called the Camp Lejeune contamination water issue, and I was one of the babies that were born at that time. So
oh geez,
yeah. So there's like a bunch of other illnesses. There's people that got cancers, people that died already. So I'm lucky. I'm blessed. So like it's like it happened. I don't think about it that much at all. Yeah.
So how does it? There's a lot of reasons, a lot of things that have happened in your childhood or in your life to this point that there's many of us out there who would take that and go, this is why I choose not to make the best of. Here are all my reasons, right? Here are all the issues, feel for me type of thing.
Yeah.
You give off a very different impression.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it happened. I'm very blessed. I'm lucky. Now it's about moving forward.
Yeah.
How does that mentality work? Like, is that something that always came to you? Do you have to craft that? Do you have to work on maintaining it?
So I talked to my mom about this 4 weeks ago, and we have conversations about like childhood and how I was as a kid. I have questions that some things I don't remember. I did remember. I told her like, man, I had this heart condition for a long time, but Mom, have I ever complained about it? And she's like, no, you never complained about it. He's like, you just go. You just have it in your mind, your heart. You drive. You have a goal. You go, and you just do it. I don't think you should worry too hard about things that you can't control. I mean, there's so many other reasons to stress, and there's so many reasons you shouldn't stress about the things you should stress about. Mm-hmm. But don't bring self-stress on. And I think if I'm thinking about that, then I think if your mind, everybody says you put your mind to it, it's gonna, you can do anything you want to. Yeah. But if you put your mind about something that's negative, then it's just the reverse effect, right? Yeah. So I think because of my mom and my dad, hearing some war stories from my dad and wanting to be like, oh yeah, I can handle that too. Yeah. It's just a mentality, man. I think it's just natural. Some things some leaders are taught to lead. Some people are naturally born to be a leader. Some people are natural warriors. Mm-hmm. I don't worry at all, and it's just like just gotta keep moving. Try to get to the next goal, and don't let a lot of people or ideas stop me.
Do you think you can teach someone to be a leader?
I think you can teach people the core foundation of being a leader, and if they can read that core foundation every day going into leadership, and if they have the self-discipline, they can be a leader. But then there's natural born leaders where people just gravitate and follow you let's just say into battle or into any situation. They just believe in you and your vision and that leader. I think we all need leaders in our lives. I think as human beings, we just need somebody to kind of like look up to kind of like push us a bit. And then there's self-motivators, like I'm a per se self-motivator and a self-leader. But as a leader, you need other people to do their roles to kind of get you to what your goal is or what the achievement of your leadership is supposed to be. So it's a team play.
How about your dad?
What about him?
Was he a self-taught leader, motivator, or was he just a natural-born leader?
Natural. Okay. It's just in him. My dad has a very calm demeanor about him. That is, from some of the stories I heard growing up, you wouldn't expect such a calm demeanor from that type of person. And it's really cool for me to know that type of person. Yeah. But I know that I call it the controlled volcano because he can unleash anytime he wants to, but he chooses not to. I mean, that's complete control. Yeah. I think, I listen to a lot of Jordan Peterson. And,
I was going to say, it sounds very familiar to that statement.
Yeah, so I was just thinking about something he said. It's like it's better to know how and not use it, and then to not use it and know how, because if you don't know how to use it and you try to, you can get hurt. You can hurt somebody else. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how I grew up. And I grew up martial arts, and so I know how to do a lot of things. So,
a lot of discipline, a lot of self-control, and a lot of... Yeah. Interesting.
Self-control is extremely hard, though.
Why?
Because, the flesh is weak. The flesh is something that is capable of doing action at the moment. The mind isn't necessarily that capable, but the mind leads the flesh into doing that action. You can think something to existence and then work hard to get there, but if I want to pick up that cup, my hand can do it. If I want to punch somebody, my hand can do it. To fight that urge, that anger, those issues mentally, it's a bit harder than to just not do it. So I think the flesh is harder can control in a lot of ways.
Why do you think it's harder for guys to... Anger is an emotion. For a lot of guys, anger is the default emotion, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's fear of expressing vulnerability or an unawareness of how to regulate their emotions or have conversations. Why do you think that that's the case?
That's a good question. Okay, so there's a couple ways to explain this. Emotions, I'm a very emotional person, but I'm not a lashing out type of emotional person. I don't react on my emotions. I go internally to figure out what's going on before I lash out. And I think a lot of, I'm going to come from a point of view. I grew up in a very small town over the years it has grown a bit violent in the North Carolina area. And there's a lot of kids that don't have fathers. And then those fathers that aren't around aren't able to teach them certain roles that a man should play in the lives of people around them. And a lot of those kids end up in jail, end up killing somebody, hurting somebody. And not having the father around. And the father doesn't have to say do this and that. It's just lead by example, show up, pay bills. There's a school recital or something at school. One of the most important things that happened to me in my life was my dad showing up to something important to me. And I didn't realize how important that was until I was older. Because I knew my dad was always around, but he was always either in Afghanistan or doing something for the U.S. government. And so that was pretty cool. But when he shows up to something, it meant the world to me. And that seeing him saying that he's going to do something and do it, it's pretty strong for a young boy to see. Young men are very impressionable people. Like you said, emotions. There's a lot of lashing out of emotions because they can't control it. They get angry and they want to punch somebody. The person who walks away that can destroy anybody is actually the more superior person.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that's a huge aspect in being able to control that. It's just like and I can only speak to the American black cultures. There's a lot of single fathers, and these kids don't have that male figure. And then you go to play high school basketball, and the coach becomes your male figure. We have a recent thing on. So this isn't in all cases. The father does have to be a bit mature. We have a recent case with Ja Morant holding guns, and the guy's worth $250 million. He lost $40 million last year.
Why would you You're throwing away everything.
For
what?
Yeah.
A social media IG live post. The
people I grew up with on the streets. I didn't grow up on the streets. I grew up with a lot of people that were on the streets that I call my friends, and they got my back. I will have their back in a legal situation, not any of the other stuff. Yeah. But they're still my homies. I still got love for them. I still respect them. But they would do anything to be in his shoes. And I feel like the people around you, are I think he's very impressionable to the people around him. So he's always trying to impress them. And it's kind of sad. And I think his dad has a lot to do with it, because his dad seems to be pretty young, and men don't mature faster than women. There's stories out there that 50-year-old men still act like 12-year-olds. So it could be a possible situation. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I won't dive deep into that. But I just look from the outside. Why would someone that has the world, the NBA is a very, very powerful organization, and he's the future of it. He could be
the face of it.
He could be the face of it if he wants to, right? If he cleans his act up, even now, he still could be. So it's just I just kind of why would someone do that? And I hear all these pundits talking, and a lot of them make a lot of sense, but no one's asking what's wrong with him. And he has been a person his whole life that's everything's been given to him because of his naturally born gifts. And no one's ever said you can't do it. Even during the first time he did it during the playoffs, they only rushed him back because he had the playoff game. They want to win, right? If they would have took that serious and actually put him in a facility, a rehab facility for a month or 40 days, which is supposed to be at least 40 days, then maybe there would have been something to help him out with. So I think the emotional aspect of men plays a lot to do with a male figure in their life. And that's just my personal opinion.
The lack of a male figure. I'd agree with that too.
Yeah.
The lack of a male figure.
Yeah. His friends aren't helping too. It's also talking about keeping your circle close and your friends. It's his friends got to be hey man, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Not hyping him up, and you should know if he even has anything on him. Camera shouldn't be around in the first place, right? You gotta keep your friends around you because they're not losing money.
Well, in that scenario, that friend is doing it for his own clout. Yeah.
But that to me, it's just maybe that his friend doesn't have a male figure in his life, and his friend, he's so impressionable to his friends that he loves and respects, that their ideas are he wants to do what they want to do. Yeah. He wants to be a gangster like they are. I don't understand their mentality when they have a guy that's willing to be that loyal to them, that's worth $250 million. why don't you do what LeBron's boys did? They started their own business. They're all close to being like worth $500 million each right now, because they all said, my buddy's about to be in the NBA and he's about to be the best. LeBron's like, look, go work for this guy for 2 years and I'll give you some money for your business. Go do this for a couple years and we can start a film company. Like, now that's brilliant.
Yeah.
LeBron James is everything that a lot of people should look up to, I think, when it comes to just, fathers and stuff. He's great with his
off the court. He's absolutely amazing.
Great with his kids.
I love LeBron on the court too.
Okay,
but
I wasn't sure.
People disagree with the on the court part. So
yeah, I do.
Yeah. But
I'm a Michael Jordan guy.
Yeah.
Kobe guy. Not Kobe over LeBron, but Michael Jordan over LeBron. Yeah. LeBron is the third best player of all time. That's a great accolade.
Who's the second?
The second is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay, and Jordan's the first.
And Jordan's number one.
So what makes LeBron third? I'm fascinated, but I don't have skin in this game. I watch it as for entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm not married to any ideas of who should be first.
Yeah.
I grew up. I watched a little bit of Jordan at the end, and then mostly LeBron. Mm-hmm. So for me, I go, I see LeBron now because of relevance, right? Yeah. But I can get it on the flip side. Like if you're a hockey fan and you grew up watching Gretzky and then you watch Crosby and McDavid, you go,
Yeah.
So why is LeBron, in your perspective, third?
Well, before we go there, Jordan could have easily won 8 championships in a row,
but he didn't.
Okay, I'm not. I'm not.
Could have.
I know. I'm not even gonna go there. I just want to say he could have, but he didn't. He did go play baseball, and his father died. LeBron could be the best if he would have had a similar record. The guy's been to 10 championships and only had 4 rings. Like at any other job, I mean, most people get fired for that success.
Is there
rate.
Really?
No, but you're still making it to 10. But my thing with LeBron is at this point now, at 38, and he's still balling at this level.
No, longevity award, he wins. Great, like he's taking care of his body. I mean, like, geez,
he can play for another couple of years.
How much is it that he spends on his body a year?
Millions. Yeah.
There's a few athletes, him, Brady, Russell Wilson, that have been. I think Ronaldo too.
Yeah,
been known to spend Messi, I believe, but that's why, and that's
why they're playing until their 40s. I mean, I got so much. I'm talking about like Jordan has 6 championships. He won all those MVPs. Every championship he has an MVP trophy to show you. He's been the best player. He's been the best defensive player in the league. He's got a defensive all team. He's got so many accolades that LeBron doesn't have at all. So it's like maybe if LeBron had some of those things over his beautiful career, he skipped so many things that Jordan did, and he did it in a short time. So if you take all Jordan's glorious years of 10 glorious years, he's achieved way more than LeBron has in 19 years. So I mean that right there.
Would you say the league is harder today than it was back then?
No way. Can't be that
because
hard.
Of what, the physicality of it?
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with LeBron. He's 6'8", 235, 40, 60 pounds.
How big was Jordan?
6'6".
Okay.
Yeah, but it's harder in a different sense though too, because it's also with social media. Because remember, if social media was around back then, Jordan wouldn't have played that long because he had that little gambling problem.
There would have been more issues because we wouldn't.
And Jordan was a terrible teammate.
Yeah. Jordan
wouldn't have been able to play now because there's too many people around. He would have he punched that guy in practice because he didn't pass him the ball.
Yeah,
which is a great story. Everybody loves it. But if that happened now, he wouldn't be on the team anymore.
Look what happened to Draymond Green. He punched the guy. Yeah. But Draymond Green's nowhere as good at him.
Yeah.
Look, man, we live in a time where if you tweet something wrong and there's one person that doesn't feel good about it, then everyone's gonna. It's like everyone wants to take their personal issues and put it into the world when somebody does something that they feels wrong. Yeah. We all have individual lives to live the best that we know how. We can. It's no need to put our own beliefs on other people's plates, especially if you feel a bit insecure about some things in your life. He's like, dang, that sucked that he said that. Mm-hmm. Not dang, that sucks that he said that. He's a loser and a bum.
Yeah.
Maybe pray for them. Maybe think about them in a better way. So maybe they'll do better in the future. Because it seems like we just kind of want nobody to have second chances anymore.
Yeah. Well, how do you deal with your own insecurities? Because we all have them, right? They all pop up from time to time. You could be on a great streak and then suddenly go cold.
Yeah.
How do you deal with those moments?
So my insecurities are only with personal relationships. Okay. So you're right. Everyone has them, aware, right? So mine's with personal relationships.
Friendships
and even closer.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's just like, You know, I'm a goal oriented guy. I like to achieve so many different things, and there's always somebody that out there that's done more than you have. I really didn't start getting, I guess, what even well known, or I didn't get start making like okay money until like recently, right? So like my career has been, I grind for so many years, and it's starting to pay off a little bit. So I'm a bit older, and then there's like, you know, you see the younger generation making $400,000 a year in crypto and stuff like that. You know, it's just like, you know, you ask yourself, did you do anything wrong?
Yeah.
That's when you have to just like look at and like, well, I didn't do anything. I did everything right. I believe in myself, and that's the only thing you can rely on is like within yourself. Did you do something wrong to get where you are? And is the car still moving? You still have opportunities. So I guess my insecurities comes from situations like, you know, I would look in within myself, like, am I doing everything I can to achieve the goals?
So
am I
dealing with the self-doubt,
Yeah.
the negative talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I look under each crevice and see, did I leave anything under there? You know.
And what about the relationships part?
Yeah, it's just like loyalty. It's just I've been in some situations where lack of loyalty, and it's
on
just
your part, on
other people.
So you feel like you're too loyal too quickly.
I'm not too loyal. I don't expect the chatter behind your back.
Okay.
I had a buddy of mine. I guess to give you an example, I had a buddy of mine, and I forgive him in every facet. He didn't even see this. I forgive him every facet. I'll never have to see him in my life, you know.
Yeah.
I forgive him. I hope he does everything he wants to do in his life. I wish him only the best. But I had a restaurant, and he basically, we known each other for a long time. And we broke bread together. We knew each other really, really close for years before. And then he came to my restaurant and shook my hand, told me everything was amazing. All the food was great. It was amazing, like, great job, chef. And then, I don't know, 2 days later, I'm hearing like he's telling everybody that my food's crap. And I'm sitting here like, wow. And he's like, oh yeah, his fried chicken sucks. And I was just like, geez, he just told me like that's the two-face. Okay, all right, cool. And then I seen him like a couple days after that, and he started talking to me. Hey, how you doing? I just kept walking.
Yeah.
I looked at him like I didn't acknowledge him.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where like, why should I actually put myself in that situation? But my insecurity is coming from like, who do you trust? Who can you bring within your circle that aren't looking for material?
Yeah.
You know, and come to find out he's doing his own business with chicken. So maybe it was like one of those things where he's like, got to put everybody down so he can lift this stuff up. With that being said, man, you know, I'm always like weary of the people I bring within my inner circle.
Yeah.
To make sure I can be who I am and not like talk with a filter.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not like I'm saying anything horrible or bad or like negative towards anyone in their lives or anything.
Yeah.
But you never know who can take what out of context. So
Do you keep your circle small?
I keep my circle close. So it could be big, but I know everybody well.
Okay.
You know, I keep it close. And I got some really good people around me, like amazing, very like intelligent business people around me. I actually stopped hanging around with like every chef I know and started hanging out with all the business people I know. CEOs, start hanging out with people who are hedge fund guys, people that know things I don't know. You know, I don't know anything about the financial world. So I start hanging out with those people. And you know, one of the things, the coolest thing I found out is I feel like as far as a career is concerned, when it comes to numbers, those people are way less emotional. It's like, why be emotional about facts, right? Like the numbers are the numbers. Fix it, you know? So I find out they're a lot less emotional, and they're easy to have conversations with when it comes to just like, let's fix this, and opposed to like panicking, you know? So
you're running your own shop right now, multiple shops.
Yeah, I got a couple things going on. Yeah.
Tell us about it. Because you're essentially an entrepreneur in addition to being a chef. Like you're not just a chef for another restaurant. You're doing your own thing, which means those numbers matter.
Yeah, and I got the very, very important people around me to help me manage those numbers.
Yeah.
I'm taking in everything I can, right? Like You know, I think if you spend 20 minutes a day on something for a whole year, you become expert at it. There's no way in the world I spend 20 minutes a day on numbers. But I want to, and I'm trying to. But I got the right people around me, and like, there's a lot of numbers that come in play. And I remember in the beginning of it, because I've always done everything on my own, and I was always protective over the numbers, but I didn't know the numbers. And so I was protective over something because I was insecure about that. I didn't know it, and like, I'm like bringing in money, but I'm losing money. Like, how does that happen, right? So you kind of got to watch it, what's going in and out, and you got to figure it out. And so I got people around me now that just like, I let them focus on it on a day-to-day, and when I have a question, they sit down with me and they go over it so I can completely understand it.
Which is super important, because that's how you can make sure that not only are you learning something, but you can also continue to trust the people in your circle, 100%. People who are doing that for you. Yeah. So what's Friday Burger Company, the big patch on the chest there?
2021.
Yeah. So I started a restaurant called Friday Roots. It was on Dundas. That place closed down, but I was like, had a burger on the menu. Always wanted to do a burger joint since I was a kid. And so,
what's your favorite type of burger?
Oh man, I don't know if I have a favorite type.
I've become a sucker for Nashville burgers recently, like a Nashville sauce.
Yeah, the sauce, right? Yeah. I like a California smash burger. So it's not like the smash burger where it's like crispy on the edges. It's like a thicker beef bite. And I like the bite into beef, not like paper thin beef. Yeah. So that's probably my California smash. Probably my favorite burger.
What about like topping? What's like the best random topping? Like I've had pineapple on a burger before, and it was really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it grilled?
With the jerk sauce, grilled pineapple with some jalapenos, and it was one of those things you wouldn't expect, but like it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it depends. The pineapple is freaking amazing. It all depends on how you organize to other toppings. You know, pineapple, is it a teriyaki burger? Like, you know, are there pickles? Because that pickle and the sweet might work really well, right? Like, it's just like burgers are a balance of flavors, right? So like you have pickles on a really, really buttery, cheesy burger, fatty burger, because it cuts through the fat for you. Or you don't have it if it's just a burger. You don't need it if it's just like a regular, no cheese, not a fatty cut. You don't really need a pickle. So it's like you can have a pickle on it, and nothing's wrong with having a pickle on any type of burger. But if you want to have a balanced burger, you know, you have the crispy crunch with lettuce or even crispy onions. You have that nice, fresh, slightly sauteed onion taste, which is amazing to me. Yeah. Then you have the caramelized that brings out the sweetness. Then you have the actual crispiness on the outside of the patty, the sauce and the seasoning. So there's so many elements that make a great burger. I do burger reviews on my TikTok, and I've done a lot of them. The core, I've done a couple trickster burgers, I call them, like burgers that aren't necessarily your favorite, or something you'll order, like a peanut butter burger. I've had a peanut butter burger. It was absolutely amazing.
Really?
But I do call it a trickster burger.
I've heard about those, yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it a trickster burger?
It's because it's a different burger. Like a burger, it should be lettuce, tomato. Or not lettuce, tomato, classic, lettuce, cheese, and pickle. Or
like
onion.
A so base no classic.
Yeah.
Tomato?
You don't need. You can have a tomato on it, but you don't need one.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, I've done all that, and I think the ones that I review on a certain scale are the ones that are, you know, their signature burger. So I go in like, I just want to get your signature burger, and then I'll review it, right? So if you can't make a good signature burger, why would I order anything else?
Sure.
So.
No, I really want a burger.
The signature to me should be, my signature burger is my regular burger. It doesn't have like barbecue sauce on it. You know, it has my sauce, the way I like my meat, a certain cheese. That's my signature burger.
Very specific way. That's
how you do it. Yeah. Like if you lined up 100 people to make a burger with lettuce, tomato, and onion, who makes the best one? That's what I'm looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you like a medium rare burger? Because you can't do that in
Can't
Canada.
do it in Canada.
Yeah, so how does that work for your burger company?
Wait, what? Why?
Meat laws. Canada, you can't do a lot of like...
Ground beef has to be cooked to 165?
Yeah, in Canada.
You can't do a medium rare burger?
No.
Beef burger.
Beef burger.
Yeah.
But if you order like a burger that's got like a slab of meat in there, that's Like I don't get it. I swear I've had that here.
Yeah, I mean, you don't tell us who they are.
Okay. I mean, I
Don't
can't
say it on the
remember
microphone.
but
In America, you can get a rare, medium rare. I just was in New York and I had
You get rare too, right?
I had a burger at Minute Tavern. It's the Black Label burger and it was so delicious.
I don't get it. So what's the difference between that and having a rare steak?
Ground beef.
Ground beef is different.
Right.
Ground beef. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, you can grind. I make medium rare burgers at home. I grind my own beef. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. It's so weird.
It is weird. There's some weird rules here, but yeah, Friday Burgers is opening Friday Burgers. It's at 81 Bay Street. The date is 2 TDB. Then I'm opening another location on the Danforth.
Okay. We gotta come by and check this place out.
Yeah. So they're
You
probably
got me thinking about burgers. Like this
You
is
should
only
be
the
thinking
natural
about
next
burgers.
step.
you should be thinking about burgers. It's a natural way of things.
Do you only do beef burgers?
Chicken? They're doing some fried chicken.
In 2023, 2024, we're getting a lot of those veggie burgers and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Do you do those?
No.
See, I have my burger has to be a meat burger.
So okay, look, I do a veggie burger, not a plant-based veggie burger.
Okay.
It's a big difference.
So like a portobello mushroom or something like that. Okay.
Yeah. I just, you know what, I love bologna and I love Oscar Mayer wiener. I love a good hot dog, but there's a lot of things in a hot dog that necessarily aren't good for you, so I don't eat them as much anymore.
I heard the minute I heard about that, I was like, no.
Yeah, it's the same thing for plant-based.
Yeah.
You know, they're not like the same intestinal things that are in a hot dog, but it's just chemical intestines. So it's like, who knows what these chemicals that go into these products, how's that going to affect you in 20 years?
Yeah, I'm always weary of anything that's grown in a lab.
Yeah, and it sits on your stomach. If you never ever notice, next time you eat like one of those plant bases,
The Beyond and
whatever you want to call it, like eat the product and let it sit for a while, and you'll feel it in the gut a bit more. Yeah.
Okay, so you're opening up 2 shops.
Yeah.
Date TBD.
Yeah. Soon,
Okay.
summer. Yeah.
Summer 2023.
Come around the corner.
Okay.
Yeah. That'll be on the social media. I got the Chef Collective.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, Chef Collective's it's an events company that we focus on highlighting chefs all around Canada. Started off by hosting a couple events. In the beginning, Chef Devin was my partner, and we still work together on it. But like in the beginning, we were just hosting like really cool battles in all these restaurants. So I grew up in the hip hop culture where battles was real. Like I come from like Cannabis and LL Cool J style battles. Like that's some hardcore stuff. And then I was like, oh, we can do chef battles. Like straight up. So 2
like
chefs.
Iron Chef style?
Yeah, but
Okay.
like live audience, people yelling at you. We did one in Montreal that was probably like to this day the best. We did it in a YMCA. We closed the YMCA down. About 500 people showed up.
Wow. Montreal will show up for stuff like that.
Oh, they gangster, man.
Yeah.
When it comes to food scene,
Yeah, they're
they're real
They
hardcore.
definitely know their food.
Yeah, the scene outside was ridiculous, man. Like there's guys burning the other restaurants' hats. It was all in good fun. People brought tongs and pans to the actual competition. They were banging it.
Nice.
It was just like, wow, these guys we're
Wild.
We're going back to Montreal this fall.
Okay.
So to do a chef battle there. So we're gonna start doing some heavy recruiting. So I got that going. You can definitely check out the website if you go to my Instagram. And then I'm working on a bunch of other things. I work for a company called it's a knife company called Dow Strong, and I'm a producer for content. So I am going out all around Canada looking for amazing stories with chefs, food providers, anybody in the food industry, mom cooks, dad cooks, home cooks in general, kid chefs. So it's just like it's a show that I'm producing, and the show is going to be kind of in between Parts Unknown and Fuck That's Delicious. So it's going to be like a kind of a mashup a little bit, and with me as the host.
Yeah.
So working on that, and I'm working on some fashion stuff as well. So I got a lot of work.
Keeping yourself busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to. One of them might not work. You got to.
Right. Well, that seems to be the common theme. Like a lot of the guys that we've had on that talked about the entrepreneurial spirit is that you got to have multiple sources of income coming from different areas. Like you have to constantly be having something happening, because if one doesn't work or fails or just doesn't do as well, you're not reliant on it. And I think the pandemic really highlighted that when a lot of people lost their sole source of income.
Yeah. Yeah, the pandemic was... I tried a lot of different things that I didn't like in the pandemic. You know, I tried to do my own barbecue sauce, and then I look at the numbers, and that don't work out. Like, to deliver barbecue sauce costs more to make it, right? So that didn't work out. Pandemic was an interesting time. I think a lot of people learned a lot about themselves.
What'd you learn about yourself?
I learned that I can sit in silence.
That's good.
That's an important one.
Yeah. I learned that I can. I learned that I can look in the mirror, sit in silence, and I learned that I learned that I love the wilderness a lot more. I moved out into BC, in the middle of the woods. Not in the middle of the woods. We lived in a house on the lake, but it was nice. But it was like a small town of, 500 people, maybe even a little less or more. I don't know the exact numbers. But yeah, that was a really good time to reflect and figure out how I wanted to come out of it. So.
And what was that decision?
Burgers. No, I want to come out doing what I love, and I want to earn an income with that. And it's just like I started doing my career not caring about any of the dollars. As a chef, it's like I don't care about the money right now, you know. But
it's about the craft, it's about the passion.
Yeah, and it's still about all that. But now, there's
food
bills,
on the
and there's like
table.
certain materially things that I want, travel that I want to do, and things that cost money. And like I want to be able to be in a position financially to help people without asking for that help back. So if a buddy of mine needs to, I need to lend them $100, like, here's $100.
Hold that.
It's not like if you can,
you don't have to pay me back anymore.
Like I'm not lending you, I'm giving it to you.
Yeah, like, and when you get back on your feet, let's go have dinner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to be in that position where I can help people in general financially, like, and not just financially. I want to be able to feed people. I want to be able to teach people how to feed themselves. Not cooking, but like teach them how to do business and be an entrepreneur. And like, what does it take to be an entrepreneur? What are you sacrificing to be an entrepreneur? Give them all the information so they can make the right decisions. Like I'm doing tomorrow, I'm feeding 50 kids, making a bunch of sandwiches, just gonna drop them off. And it's just like, I want to do that on a regular basis. So it's just, I'm working on a bunch of different things financially, and it's not because I want wealth. It's because I want wealth that I can help others with, and as well live out the things that I want to do.
What's something you want to do that you haven't done yet?
I want to get a pilot's license.
Nice.
Well, very cool.
Yeah, I want to get a pilot's license. I want to start a farm. I want to do more traveling. I want to sell pretty far. Not sure where yet, but I do want to go on like a 30-day sail excursion.
Do you have your boating license?
I do have my boating license, not my class. I think it's Class C license. Where
I didn't even realize you need a license to operate. Well, I guess you would, but
motorized vehicle,
yeah. We have a boat here, but we don't use it. I think I don't know. We haven't seen it in like 4 years. Because of pandemic and all that crap, right? Yeah. So it's just like I don't know. My dreams are focused around adventure, but also being able to sit down and help people and achieve their goals too. So,
is the best burger made on a grill or a flat top?
Great question. Both.
Okay. Wow.
Both.
You have to pick one.
Yeah, because so the flat top is great. So the best way to make the best, period. And anybody hearing this can hit me up in the DMs, because the best way to make a steak, period, is hard sear flat on the flat top and finish it off on the grill. You can get that char. The hard sear is why you put all the seasoning on it, and then you put it on the grill, and all that seasoning goes down the grates. So if you put that hard sear, you're searing all that flavor, and then it's just a beautiful pool of crusted flavor, and then you can finish it off on the grill and get that char. But it has to be over wood, not charcoal. Wood.
Wood burning grill.
Yes, and that produces the best like umami flavor, like flavor all around. So to me, not to me, that is the best way.
For steak.
Cook steak, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, cast iron skillet, no doubt, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have all that equipment, then why not do it? It's the time of the year too, summer. Let's do it.
Damn, man, I'm so hungry.
Yeah, man.
So, okay, Joe, what else you got going on? You got the shops, you got the collective.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing some community work.
Yeah.
What's something that you're not doing yet that you want to do?
Well, I mean, I'm
like from an entrepreneurial sort of.
I'm writing a book, but I'm not doing it yet. I'm writing a book mentally. I'm taking down notes and putting what I want in the book.
Yeah.
Books take time. The book is a piece about me and my past. Like, I have some interesting stories that I think I can maybe somebody look, man. If I buy a book and one person buys it and that one person's helped, that's all that matters. I'm not buying a book to get any money. I'm buying the book because that's the way I can contribute to society with my story.
Right.
Educational platform, right? Because there's a lot of things that I've done in my life, and I think there's a lot of things of the type of person who I am that people can learn from. I kind of want this book to be a dissection of who I am. Like I said, I turned 19. I had four separate occasions pull a gun out on me.
What was that like?
It was scary. Like, the first time was scary because I was like just moving back from Japan. Literally got off the plane. 2 days later, some kid had a gun on me in Mississippi. And it's just like, I'm 13 years old, right? Mm-hmm. So like, it's just like, it was scary. But each time that happened, I never froze. I was always prepared. Just in case, I watched the hand. The focus was unparalleled. It was like, okay, there's a couple scenarios here. You know what I mean? How do you get out of it? So I was always calm. I'm thankful for that because that was the martial arts I learned in Japan that taught me to be just calm in a matter of, and that's one thing that I can teach in a book, is how to be calm in like difficult times and how to keep believing in yourself and not believe in yourself. Because it's not easy to be an entrepreneur. It's extremely hard when you don't have the financial backings. Like, I hear all these amazing stories about entrepreneurs that have $100,000 in the bank, so they're starting with something, and they have a fallback blanket as well. Right. But they have $100,000 in the bank starting a business. I've never had $100,000 in the bank to start my own business. So I never had I never been in a situation where I can fall down in some soft pillows. Yeah. It was always a hard fall on my face. Like, every failure was just like extremely hard. Like, there's times where, just like, I was just swelled up with emotions. You got to go to the gym. You got to hit the boxing bag. You got to figure it out. Don't give in. Don't give up. If that's what you really want, you have to fight for it. You can't, no one's going to give you anything. You got to fight for it and fight really hard. And like, go beyond the rounds. And when the bell rings, you got to keep going. And so that's what I want to tell people. I want to tell people how to keep crushing it. Like, don't stop believing in yourself, because you need to learn from the mistakes. Every mistake is a lesson, and just don't keep making mistakes. Yeah. So
awesome, Joe. You do awesome stuff, man.
Y'all appreciate it, man. I try, man.
And I appreciate your genuineness, authenticity, like the idea of, this is cool, I could do all these things, but how can I give back? Yeah. Which I think is a lost art. Yeah. In a lot of ways. I think there's a lot of people out there that are capable of supporting other people, and I'm not saying necessarily financially, right? Like, through their experience, their knowledge base, even sharing knowledge, for example. Instead of being gatekeepers, they can share that and help someone, pick someone up and arm them with the information to go and become the entrepreneur, to do this and do that. And I get the sense that that's something that's quite important to your ethos, the way you operate. So totally respect that, man. Good stuff to you.
I made tons of mistakes in the past.
We all do.
Tons of mistakes, especially on the financial front. Is just like, at sometimes, like, not being able to pay a staff member. Through restaurants that I've worked in, like, the restaurants weren't able to pay, and so I pulled out of my pocket and paid it, because I just hate that. I hate those situations, right? So, but mistakes are good if you take it from the right side.
lessons. They end up becoming lessons.
100%.
Amazing. Joe, thanks for coming through, buddy.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
having
Really
me.
appreciate
Thanks for
you.
having me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It flies by, but this was cool.
Yeah. It's
And
really
we got to
cool.
come by your burger spot when it opens.
Invite
Yeah.
will be out. I'll send you an
Yes.
invite for sure.
Amazing.
Please do.
I appreciate it. Thank you for coming by.
Awesome, guys.
Pancho, appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for listening.